Hey everybody, how y'all doing? My name is Rod Sinks. I'm mayor of the city of Cupertino. Not Mountain View, not Sunnyvale, but we're working with those two cities as well as our county here in Santa Clara. We're in the heart of Silicon Valley, and we are working together on a particular project, and that is putting our communities on a carbon diet. So if you think about all the things that we do to contribute to global warming on the planet, certainly transportation is a big one. Another is in the electricity that we use. And today in California, the electricity we buy from Pacific Gas and Electric, our investor-owned utility, is on the order of 23% green. But there are other places in the Bay Area, like Marin, where customers are able to buy electricity that's 50% or even 100% green. And today we're going to talk about how they've come to do that and the efforts we have going on here in our county, in fact in other counties in the Bay Area, to follow the lead that Marin and then Sonoma have met. So again, if you're just tuning in, my name is Rod Sinks and I'm the mayor of Cupertino. So how are they able to achieve 50% green electricity, 100% green electricity? The way they're doing that is by getting a group of cities and or the county together and sourcing electricity on behalf of their residential customers and their commercial customers. So businesses as well as homeowners in Marin are able to have the option to take 50% green electricity at prices that are a little bit less actually than PG&E's 23% green electricity, renewable electricity. And they're able to do that because they have a clear policy and they have they're buying electricity in bulk, and they've come together to do this. Today in our county, there's a certain handful of customers who are known as direct access customers. And by state law, only a small fraction of our total electricity load can go direct access. So these are very sophisticated customers, some of our biggest corporations that are purchasing electricity directly. Normal homeowners and small and medium-sized businesses don't have this access. So that's what we're working on. And we're excited because in January of this year, our City Council unanimously adopted our climate action plan. And the City of Sunnyvale did so, the City of Mountain View did so a little earlier, more or less, in the last year or two. So all of us, in studying climate action plan, what we could do to impact climate change, looked at all potential ways to do that. And if you added up every single thing we could do short of community choice energy, we found that community choice energy actually was bigger than all the rest combined. So if you think about going from 23% green to 60-70% green, depending on which customers choose 50, 100%, you can imagine making a big change in a hurry and really generating some demand for alternatives like solar. And you'll see the solar behind me. We happen to be here at the Kirsch Center at the community college called the Anza in our community. In a prior Periscope session, we looked over at Anza College, and we're here roughly at the junction of 280 and 85, where this wonderful community college is, and I'm actually at the Kirsch Center in the building. To this side of us is a LEED Platinum building and the greenest environmental center, the greenest building of any community college in the country, or so I'm told. Now to answer your questions and help fill us in on some of the details, we have our expert Assistant City Manager, Erin Cooke, who has long headed our sustainability programs and has been, frankly, a leader in the region and won a lot of awards for our city on the various sustainability initiatives that she's brought to the region. Erin.
Great. Thanks so much for hosting me today, Mayor Sinks.
You're welcome. So what's with this community choice energy thing? How is it possible that we can aggregate needs to get cleaner energy at the same price? It seems like it's too good to be true. What have they done in Marin that's made this possible?
One thing that's, I think, just really ripe for the picking right now is it's an incredibly competitive energy market, and there's huge demand for renewable energy right now. So there are lots of providers, lots of developers that are out there that are really eager to get projects online, and they want to see demand for it. So we're finding that there's just a huge acceleration in the growth of the renewable energy market, making those types of energy more readily available and actually more cost effective than they were in the past. Also, what's happening through community choice in Marin and others, similar to what you mentioned in direct access, you have a little bit more agility in the power supply contracts that you're going after. So you can get a 6-month contract, a year contract, a 5-year contract, as opposed to very long-term contracts, which is what some of our utilities have, which can certainly be a cost burden. So I think those two things are really coming into play. Also, the organization is a nonprofit that we're looking to form, our Joint Powers Authority that you mentioned earlier. So a JPA would also just be a very lean organization with all revenues coming back to the organization to go either into the pockets of ratepayers or also towards developing new additional programs, new rebates, new incentives to really incentivize or entice people to do things like install rooftop solar like we have here behind us.
So I have a frustration today. I own a house not far away from here, and I have this beautiful 250-year-old oak tree that's shading my roof, and particularly the sun-facing eve. So I effectively, although I'd love to put solar on my house, I understand the payback is coming down, the technology is getting better, but I really can't do that. I would love to toss an extension cord over my good neighbor fence a couple doors down where my neighbor has plenty of rooftop space and could provide this to me, but that seems like a pretty funky solution.
I don't think our building department would support that.
You don't think they'd like me running my own power line across the neighborhood? So can you talk to me about, were I in the situation in Marin, what community choice energy has brought that PG&E did not?
There's, I think, two different scenarios that play in. One is, if you want to just simply purchase renewable energy, you have the option to what we call opt-up. You can go to that 100% solar option or that 100% local solar option to really incentivize the marketplace and hopefully entice people to really install additional solar capacity if they have it. In Marin, you can go, and actually PG&E territory as well, up to 110% of the capacity or demand of your house you can install. So that's hopefully motivation for homeowners to install additional capacity that you then would be able to leverage through the local solar program. They also get about 1 cent more per kilowatt hour for the additional capacity that they're generating over the current utility. So that's a motivation alone for people to install a little additional capacity.
But I've heard if I'm a PG&E net metering customer, I have more capacity than I use.
Good point. Yep.
I'm told that, okay, over time I can average out so that I get a credit, but at the end of the year, the credit goes away.
Yep.
Isn't that true?
That is just like a cell phone bill. So it's a use it or lose it mentality. It goes away at the end of the year. In Marin and Sonoma, what they've actually done is if you generate a credit that's over $100 a year, you get a check.
You get a check back for that excess power you generate.
You do.
So in that scenario, my neighbor two doors down really could build out more solar on their rooftop than they know they needed, and be effectively selling to me at some reasonable market rate.
Yep, and that extra money could go into throwing a really great block party, or whatever the resident would like. But
well, that would handle my need for feeling like I'm buying green electricity and supporting my neighbor and building more than he or she absolutely needed, right?
Absolutely.
Providing for both of us.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I suppose today in Cupertino we have a corporate yard, and we put up solar on a small part of the total area that we could have done. And had we put up more, in theory you would have thought, well, we could offset the power needs of our civic center, for example, our library, our city hall, our community hall. Is that possible today under PG&E?
Not at a property that's so far away. What we were actually able to do was we were able to capture some additional capacity there and offset energy use at our Mary Avenue Bridge.
Yeah.
So we were able to build out the site a little bit more, but it has to be an adjacent property. So that was the only way that we could work it, or an adjacent meter. So yeah, no,
Okay.
we've really long wanted to put solar out at the Civic Center. We just don't necessarily have the ground space to make that work.
And the rooftop,
Or the rooftop,
structure
yeah.
and all of these things,
Nope,
right?
nope, yeah.
So what you're saying is, if we had a program, if we adopted the same kind of program as Marin has or Sonoma has, we could be offsetting, building more solar one location to offset power in another location. Is that correct?
Yep, that would be the goal.
Well, that all sounds like we could green up the city pretty quickly.
We could, and the same thing, residents could take advantage of it through the program you mentioned, and certainly we want our small to mid-sized commercial businesses to take advantage of them because they're not able to do so through direct access right now.
Okay, cool. So I mentioned 3 cities that went in on this initiative, and then the county came in.
Yep.
So Mountain View, Sunnyvale, the county, unincorporated, representing the unincorporated areas of Santa Clara County. What other cities could join us in this endeavor?
Right now, our program is really geared toward Silicon Valley or Santa Clara County.
Yeah.
So we have reached out to other communities within Santa Clara County that don't currently have their own municipal utilities.
Right.
Those municipal utilities already have their own infrastructure,
Sure.
Distribution generation, so they're not necessarily, or excuse me, distribution and transmission lines, not looking to get into the renewable
Sure.
energy space beyond what they're already accomplished. So a lot of cities have already decided that they wanted to partner or ally with the city in our technical study. So through this process, we've done an initial study, which was basically just kind of a large review of the market. What does the market look like? What's the capacity for renewable energy? Because we know there's an appetite for that here in our community. What are the existing programs really look like? So we looked at Marin and Sonoma, found really great case studies, as you've mentioned already on this session. And then what other partners are out there for us? And through the Santa Clara County Cities Association, we've been looking to target those other communities. And as part of our technical study, they've all decided, the majority of them have decided that they want us to research or review what opportunities they have to partner with us a little bit more. And hopefully we have a very positive outcome of our technical study showing that, rates are aligned with what our hopes are, that we have, opportunities in the programmatic space with incentives and rebates and things like that.
So, what's the timeline for this to get going? What's the process and under what process do we as public agencies need to go through to form this entity?
So what we're looking to do is, after we find the results of our technical study, if they are positive, take this as well as a JPA agreement back to our city council for authorization to proceed with the formation of this nonprofit organization that would ultimately be the oversight entity and the precursor to a program, a community choice energy program in our community.
Can you talk to the timeline?
So that would be January for the cities that are basically footing the bill for the technical study. So Sunnyvale, Mountain View, Cupertino, and the county would be going to our city councils in January. So if viewers out there are interested in renewable energy, looking to save a little bit of money by amplifying the renewable energy that they have powering their homes, we would really invite you and encourage you to go to your council meetings in January. The other communities that we're hoping will ally and partner with us, we're hoping they'll take this to their councils no later than March, with the goal of kind of springtime, working to form the JPA organization and bringing our first power project online in winter of 2016.
Okay.
So customers will come online in 2016.
And I guess the structure of this would be such that each of the cities that goes in on this would be represented on a governing board that would set the policies, as they've done in Marin, as they've done in Sonoma. Is that right?
Correct, yeah. So, certainly there's an opportunity to study those a little bit further, but the way that it's worked in Marin and Sonoma is, the elected representatives have helped define and set the pace and the stage really for what the incentives, what the rebates, what the programs will look like, what the rates are for the organization, and we would look to parallel that here in our community.
Okay, that's very cool. if I'm an individual homeowner considering solar in the meantime, do you have any advice for me? Do I wait to see what's going on? Do I leave now? Do I rent out my roof?
The way that it's working actually in Marin is if you are currently a net energy meter customer through PG&E, you automatically get enrolled within the CCE program. So there really is no need to delay or hesitate.
Okay.
You have the ability to take advantage of the benefits that the CCA would offer in the future. The only thing I would mention is that they have looked at other incentives and rebates that go above and beyond the current utility. So that might be something that you could take advantage of through our program. Again, that scope hasn't been defined yet, but it could be.
Now, if I'm in Marin or Sonoma, am I getting a bill from a whole new entity? What about continuation of service? This is a new government thing. Can I trust the government? What do you say to all those kinds of concerns?
I mean, those are valid and very great questions. You know, the way that the program is structured, again, it's a nonprofit, it's a separate legal entity, so no taxpayer dollars are going to fund this program. It's exclusively run through the revenues that are generated through selling electricity to current customers. In terms of PG&E, they'll remain an absolute essential partner. We need the distribution and the transmission lines to bring that renewable energy here into our community, and that'll stay the same. So from a customer perspective, you're still going to get a bill from PG&E every single month.
It'll just have another line item that says community choice, Silicon Valley Clean Energy.
Generation charge involved, yes.
Okay.
Yep.
And so I'll still get a bill from PG&E, I'll still pay my bill from PG&E,
Yep.
I'll just get an enumerated list of what I'm paying for.
Yep.
And on a typical bill, what is that? It's maybe half distribution charges and half electricity charges. I'm sure it varies by customer.
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure of that answer, but we can look into that.
Okay. And if people are concerned about jobs in our area, what impact does this have on jobs, union jobs with PG&E and the distribution transmission space, and/or jobs in construction? That, you know, if we're enabling more solar in the area, how does that impact? Can you talk a little bit? Give us any thoughts about that?
So we still need that infrastructure. That transmission and distribution still remains the same. So those jobs are absolutely still essential in order to provide the service that we're looking for. As you mentioned, this program is really working to amplify and accelerate renewable energy. Marin and Sonoma both have local solar programs. So we would assume that we would work to identify opportunities to generate jobs and create those types of projects here in Silicon Valley. So in Marin, they were able to actually, I think it's been about $500 million in local economic benefits. They've created about 1,800 jobs just through the siting of renewable energy projects and over 225 megawatts of projects. So we'd look to do the same here and possibly even exceed that because we have a stronger customer demand. We have a bigger population.
Yeah, indeed. A lot of server farms and other things that are powering the internet and powering businesses doing R&D.
Yep.
Yeah, we're here at Anza College, as we said. I'm Rod Sinks. I'm the mayor of Cupertino, for any of you who tuned in after we started. And this is Erin Cooke, who is manager of sustainability programs and assistant city manager in the city of Cupertino.
Hi, everyone.
And on this college, I know, some time ago, folks managing this, the Foothill Anza board, led the way and put up a lot of solar that tracks the sun. In fact, this is an example of one of those.
Yep.
But if we were in another area of the college, I know they have a lot of solar over the cars that's tracking the sun all day. And I know our high school district has done the same thing.
Yep.
So they've invested a lot in solar in an effort to try to put some money into capital, which is easier for them to raise in order to get offset on operating costs. Can you comment on how this might impact these institutions of ours, as well as our major employers? Could they become our suppliers, in effect, to the extent they have excess energy?
I think there's certainly the potential there. Specifically if they want to build out a little bit further. I mean, all of these electrons are basically going directly into our grid. So if there's additional capacity and they'd like to oversize their system or expand, so I think certainly the potential would be there. These are institutional customers, so they're part of a different class, but I think they would still have the ability to participate in community choice energy, as would any of our large commercial customers. So we have had some conversations with larger corporations. Some of their properties are not actually on direct access, and or the ones that are, if we were to provide or present a new incentive program, a new rebate program, a different rate structure that would be, more compelling to them. They've talked about really partnering with us and potentially becoming a customer as well. So the option's definitely there.
So some of our larger companies, just like the city, have facilities all over town.
Yep.
So they may be direct access, you're saying, on some of the bigger facilities, but in some of their pockets today where they have office, leased space or whatever, they may not have the incentive, but they could build out solar elsewhere in order to power buildings locally or do some other things.
Yep, and we would certainly encourage that.
So really interesting options. Cool. What else would you add in conclusion?
At this point, we're really just looking to help spread the word a little bit more about community choice energy, give some context to what's been happening here in Silicon Valley. We're very proud of the progress that we've been able to make towards achieving this very major milestone in our climate action plan. We know that accelerating renewable energy is the greatest way to reduce greenhouse gases in our community, above and beyond some of the transportation work that Mayor Sinks is really leading here in our city. And so we've been really excited to partner with other cities in Silicon Valley, as we do for other projects and programs. We know we can't go it alone, and we know that partnership is really the best way forward. And we feel like it's going to be the best way forward for all residents and all businesses in Cupertino that opt to remain in our program. So I would say stay tuned, make sure that you take advantage of the community meetings that are happening. You can learn more about those at svcleanenergy.org. You can also learn a little bit more about community choice energy. We have a frequently asked questions sheet there. Our initial study is available. We'll have all upcoming meeting dates if you want to help spread the word, talk to neighbors about the program, and or get folks to come to our city council meeting. So stay tuned. We'll have another community meeting actually the first week of December to release the results of our technical study. So we hope we'll hear from more of you then. And in the interim, I would say make sure you send your ideas and feedback to Mayor Sinks or myself, Erin C at Cupertino.org, or
our Sinks at Cupertino.org. And I will tell you, last night we had a good audience at our very first outreach meeting in Cupertino Community Hall. Tonight at 6:30, if you're in the area, you can go to Mountain View City Hall, right? 6:30. And yeah, if you go to svcleanenergy.org and go to events, you will see a list of where these meetings are taking place. There will be a total of 6 in the county this month to introduce the concept to you further. You can get more information and get questions answered. And part of the feedback, part of what we're looking for is what your, what you would have us do. Would you like cheaper electricity? Would you like greener electricity? Would you be willing to pay a small premium for electricity that's, say, 70% or 100% green? All these are good questions as we think about what we want our operating rules to be, our operating conditions for the electricity options we offer. So that'll do it for this Periscope session on community choice energy, and we really appreciate your tuning in. This is going to be a big topic. I'll tell you, San Mateo County is on about the same schedule as we are, maybe a little ahead of us. San Francisco, Alameda County, Contra Costa County. So we're all working on this because we recognize that we all have a role to play in going on a carbon footprint and helping the world mitigate climate change. I'm Rod Sinks. I'm the mayor of Cupertino. Happy to have Erin Cooke with me today, and we'll sign off for today. Thank you very much for watching.
Thank you.
Mics are down.
Mics are down.
And recording.